And good evening. Welcome back, everyone, to another great episode of Next Round Sports. This is Chris Porter here, joined by my partners in crime, Caleb Culver and Jeff Amos. Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
Hola, buenas
Doing
noches.
good. We're just morning post football season, but we'll get through it. There's plenty of other
That's
sports
all
to
right.
cover.
Morning,
There
That's
are
why we're here.
plenty of
morning.
sports. I'd like to have
Yeah,
everyone. We're glad everyone here has joined us here for another great episode as we're ready to talk more about different sports going on here right now, mainly basketball.
mm,
That is really kind of taking off. We've just hit the All Star game here in the NBA, and that's actually where we're starting off with tonight. Is the no defense NBA All Star, and
first
oh,
time a team has scored 200 points in the All Star game ever
absolutely
for
absurd to
one
me.
team.
This was a 2K game that some 10-year-olds are playing against each other. I mean, this is absurd. I mean, I quit watching All Star games years ago, and that's for all of the major sports, just because one, they don't account for anything. Two, there's no defense. I mean, everybody believes that the higher scoring offense is what brings what people want to watch. They want to see that, but when it gets to this point, it's just out of hand. It's not fun anymore.
What's funny too is the commissioner came out and said, "I talked to both sides. It's going to be a competitive game," and like skewed the whole betting line to the under. It cost several people some money.
Well, they were
Because this
dumb for
easily went over the
believing
other.
that.
Oh, I agree. Adam Silver's a fucking
Yeah.
pocket commissioner.
And what's
He
crazy
can't
is
do
that
shit.
the over
Well, who
under
did he
moved
who did he
down
learn it
12
from?
points because of that.
Oh no, we
David
had great
Stern.
commissioner before him.
Stern? Really?
Yeah, Stern I think was a good commissioner. We got lucky. He made several good TV deals and
He made
expanded the
he
game.
made good stuff to do it, but still, I mean, there were some things that seemed kind of shitty with Stern sometimes.
Well, yeah, no, he's
It's
definitely
great for
shady.
the
Don't get me
players,
wrong
not
there.
always for the fans.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of stuff, but yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, I don't watch the All Star game either. I didn't watch this one. I mean, if it's on in a bar, I'll watch it some. I'll look at it occasionally and just be like, okay, nice play. All right, no defense.
Likewise,
That's
I'm
what I
not going to go
expected.
on. Yeah, like I'm not offended like some people are because again, I haven't watched the All Star game in years. It's not marketed to me. It is marketed to kids and and people of that ilk who play video games, which exactly what this is. There's no incentive for these guys to play, and so when there's
Not
no
play
incentive
hard
to
or any
play,
defense. Because you get
so
injured, you get injured.
so why is it the players' fault that they should play for nothing? So again, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm not offended. I didn't watch it out of protest and give the middle finger and just like it doesn't matter to me. I moved on with my day. I'm
Yeah, to
okay.
me, it's just, hey, I'm taking a break from the NBA until they get back into regular
Right.
season action
Yeah, I
again.
mean, like I
Which I
watch
feel,
the skills challenges. Like, don't get me
see, I
wrong,
feel the
those,
same way about the skills
but I won't
challenges.
watch the games though.
I don't care about the skills challenges anymore, and I quit caring about them when the players stopped caring about the slam dunk competition. When that happened, it didn't matter to me after that. Everything else was a build up to that. It's kind of like in rodeo. You have all the other stuff building up, which is like the 3 point, that's like the
There's
barrel
a reason
racing.
it's the last
You've
event.
got
Like
the other stuff there. That's the reason it's the last event. It's the bull riding. That's the
it's the one
excitement.
you go to see.
I mean, back when I was a kid, it was Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins putting up just
Oh, I know.
monster stuff that all these kids watch and want to emulate now. And now we have
Yeah,
the
Kobe
winner is a
Bryant, Spud
G
Webb.
League player. We have a G League player who is
I
winning,
know.
and he's the back-to-back winner who signed a 10-day contract last year just so he could be in it. This is
Because you got to be an
ridiculous.
NBA player. Oh, it is. I mean, you've
I'd
got to
rather
find a way to
watch.
get the NBA players in the fucking dunk contest. I mean, right into the fucking
The
players
best
agreement.
NBA
I don't
players.
care.
It needs to be the best NBA players. We don't need to have the backups in there doing this, and that's what it's been for the past 20 years. No
I
one
don't know if I
wants
go
to do
back
it
that
anymore, and I
far,
don't know what
but
happened. I
yeah,
think it has been
at
back that
least 10
far.
years. I can go 10 years with you, but I don't know if I'll go 20.
For
But
as far as what?
Dunk
dunk
contest.
contests, and
Here,
I mean,
talk
players
about
haven't
dunk
Oh,
necessarily
contest.
it's
cared in
been
a while, but
it's been 25 years. I mean, I'll say this: ever since Vince Carter won the dunk contest, it has not been relevant since that point. And other than they gave it to Dwight Howard a couple years. It was pretty good then.
Zach Levine was
Um,
okay when he did his
Zach
dunks.
Levine was great, but there's no name power associated
But he had one after.
I suppose, yeah, he could say that.
He did, but there was he didn't go against anyone. There was no one else that he was going against.
Just like Nate Robertson's another one. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you can say the same thing about McClung. Like, I mean, I know he's not going against the best of the best, and the creativity's. It's hard to fucking create new donks after like fucking. What have we had this thing for 40 years?
right. There's only so many dudes you can jump over.
So the Vince Carter
so
one
many dudes
that you're
so many
talking
cars.
about happened in 2000. Okay.
Exactly my point. Almost 25 years ago.
So if we go back,
he's saying Vince Carter.
So we're going back to 1984. We'll go ahead and do this right here. 1984 was with the first slam dunk competition. Larry Nance,
Yes.
the first winner. Then Dominique, and we're going to just go in year order up.
No,
Dominique
Wilkins.
Wilkins.
The whole thing.
Yeah, we do.
We get
Dominique
it.
Wilkins,
We know.
Webb.
They know that people haven't fucking been in it in a while. Just tell us when the last named player was last in the fucking competition.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. You've got my okay. Listen,
you're taking too damn long.
Stop it.
You're interrupting.
You've got Fred Webb, Michael Jordan. You've got Cedric Ceballos was in there. Isaiah Ryder back in '94 with the Timberwolves.
Yes, that was a great one.
No, it wasn't, Jeff.
Oh, yes, it damn well was.
It was. That was
good. Because it's a T-Wolf.
1997. Isaiah Ryder was a beast when he was first in the league. He really was. Like he was a
Fair
beast.
enough. I gotta give Jeff shit though.
1997, Kobe Bryant, and then Vince Carter in 2000. Since then, Jason Richardson, Desmond Mason, Nate Robertson, Gerald Green. You had Dwight Howard, Nate Robinson winning 2 more times, Blake Griffin, and then after Zach LaVine, you had Glenn Robinson III, Donovan Mitchell. After that, in 1999, Hamidou Diallo, I know I didn't say his name right, Derek Jones Jr., Anthony Simmons, Obi Toppin, and then Mac McClung for the past 2 years. Yeah. Who the hell are these
the
guys?
First back-to-back winner since Zach LaVine. But I mean, Damian Lillard sounds like the last like known player who's actually.
Damian Lillard didn't win it. It was Donovan Mitchell. It was Donovan Mitchell you were thinking.
Oh, Donovan Mitchell. Excuse me, that guy. He could still dunk. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I mean that was the last named one. I'd say
he's the last named person, and that was in 2018.
The issue though is,
and we're being generous with that too, because there's a few years before that too where you're like,
Well, the issue too is like if there is one really good guy in there, there's no one else in there. Except Jaylen Brown was in this last one, but no name of subsequence is in there this year, unless if you want to now put Mac McClung in there because he's won it.
But Jaylen Brown could barely jump over a 4-foot dude sitting in a chair.
Right.
I saw that.
But not now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not giving Jamie Jacquez or Jacob Toppin the time of day.
No, and that's the thing. And to actually get this back to where it actually means something, you need to have your best players out there doing this and being creative enough. But maybe that just shows that your best players aren't creative enough.
Players that could dunk. Yeah. They're
not creative enough to come up with it.
I mean, like we were kind of joked about before, there's like love of the game seems to be gone. It's all money grabs now by the players, it seems like, for the most part.
Well, how many times has LeBron been in the dunk contest? Name it. Anybody name how many times he's been in there? I mean, you got Michael and Kobe that won it.
Yeah. But Kobe had to win one because Michael won one.
Well, Michael won 2.
Oh, well, my bad then.
That's why Kobe had to go win one, because it was all about beating Michael. But LeBron never won one.
Nope.
Yeah, Dwayne hasn't won one. You want to throw that guy in there? Most overrated shooting guard in the NBA history.
Agreed, without a second thought. It made me so happy on his farewell tour that he was completely overshadowed by Dirk on his farewell tour.
Yes.
He got booed all the time, and every arena gave Dirk a round of applause. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd like to have seen Carmelo Anthony in one too, but he wasn't in there.
You know what's interesting? I hate Stephen A, but I think he kind of makes a good point. I think LeBron ruined the slam dunk contest because he's never even participated, much less win.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Because that set the tone for this generation.
So, I mean, yeah. I mean, you're looking at
playing
like
this
the
slam
big
dunk
four
contest.
that kind of came in around LeBron James. You're looking at LeBron, Wade, Anthony, and Bosch.
Mm-hmm.
Those were kind of like the big guys that all came in about the same time and kind of set the new tone for the league into what we are now. None of them have been in the dunk contest.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
I mean, they don't care. I mean, honestly, when
They're
this
all
group
the
came
same
in,
draft.
exactly,
Mhm.
yeah. So I'm saying they all came in basically the same time, and it's like they've all known each other and they talk about shit together. That's how you got the dream team between three of them to begin with. But like the league just got soft pretty much whenever they came in. It's like we're
No,
gonna do
really
this for the
got
money, and that's it.
Which is fine. If that's all you want
And
to
I
do
mean,
for
we
the
didn't
money,
know it was
then
that
that's
far
fine.
back though until that Redemption Team documentary came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, Kobe ran through him," and was like, "That's what you're supposed to do."
Well,
But-
that's the thing. If you were doing it for the money and you're wanting to set yourself up for the rest of your life, I understand that. But be honest
Get
with
your
everyone
money.
else about it. Sit there and say, I'm
Agreed.
doing it for the money. Don't sit there and say, oh, I'm doing it for this, I'm doing it for this. No, you're not. It's like when Carmelo was with the Knicks and he re-signed with the Knicks because they gave him the most money when he went into free agency. He was able to sign for more money with the Knicks. He came and said, hey, I re-signed with the Knicks because I want to win a championship, and that's why I re-signed here. No, you didn't. You re-signed there because they gave you the most amount of money. Just say it.
Yes.
Say I wanted the money, and everyone would be okay with it.
Yeah,
That's fine.
no one's got
We
to
don't
hold it
blame
against
you.
these players.
No, you make as much money as you possibly can when you
Yeah.
can. No one's going to
No
blame you
joke.
for it. But don't sit there and sign them when you're going for the money and then say, I want to win a championship. No, you don't, because if you want to win a championship, you take less money and go to a better team.
You pulled the
But
Dirk
you
effect,
didn't.
basically.
Yes. But you tried to say, I want to win a championship, but everyone knew the Knicks were not winning a championship with Carmelo. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
They
that
were
team
barely
wasn't-
sniffing the
yeah.
playoffs
Yeah, no.
Right.
because all the money was going to Carmelo. They had no money to spend to get anyone else in there to help.
Well, yes and no. They had other bad contracts besides just Melo. That was
A lot of bad contracts.
Yeah, I mean that was like the time New York just had like so much money tied up in so many bad contracts. They couldn't do anything besides
Sound
like
like-
re-sign their own players to more stupid bad contracts.
Kind of sound like New York since Patrick Ewing up till what they are now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
it's been
terrible
this for
years.
25 years.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just goes along with that. So, anyways, I think we've
Yeah.
kind
We
of hit
agree.
the All-Star game pretty hard right there. We all agree that there's some changes that need to be made to actually make it more enjoyable and more watchable. Maybe actually have some more meaning to it, like baseball tried years ago, even though that didn't seem to work out as well, especially in the Rangers'
Yeah.
favor. But anyways, going on here along with the NBA is I want to get y'all's opinion on how are the teams now, where they're slated now, and how do you see these teams moving up, and I'll just kind of list off the teams that are in, 1 through 10. So teams that are in the playoffs right now. And I'll just list those off. We'll go ahead and start with the East first, and we'll move to the West. But just to see, okay, do you see these teams basically staying this way? Who do you see moving up, moving down, or even not even making the playoffs at all? And so just starting off with the East, because we're West guys. I live in the East now.
Sorry.
In the East right now, number 1, Boston. Been number 1 all season long. Number 2, you have Cleveland. 3 is Milwaukee. 4 is New York. 5 is Philly. 6 is Indiana. Now in the play-in, you've got at 7 Miami, Orlando at 8, Chicago at 9, and Atlanta at 10. So a little kind of difference there from what we've seen the last couple of years. Cleveland's really been making some pushing up higher, and I think that landing of Donovan Mitchell, really has helped solidify this team, help bring this team. He was kind of the veteran they needed to bring together. Well,
He
yeah,
can make a difference.
he does, but he was kind of that veteran presence that this team needed to help kind of rally this team around and help bring them around. I don't know if they can still beat Boston, but
Or the Bucks for that matter.
the Bucks, to me,
that's the problem. That to me, the Bucks are in trouble right now.
They're in a little bit of trouble. I'll agree with you on that.
And Doc Rivers was supposed to help right the ship, and it's been the opposite since he's got there. Yeah, maybe Adrian Griffin wasn't the right president. Doc Rivers has certainly not worked out there so far. They've won.
I think there's been too much drama with that whole Griffin firing and then Doc coming in.
I mean, the chemistry was already questionable among those big three they had after the trade for this start of this year.
Yep.
So yeah, causing this extra turmoil is not helping anything. But this is, I mean, to me, the Bucks are kind of like the '80s Celtics a little bit. Now they don't have as much talent. Don't get me wrong there, but like they're good enough team skill wise to still beat somebody with turmoil in the background.
True.
Yeah,
they just need to get it. After last year being knocked out as the number 1 seed by Miami,
yes,
that I think that was the start of the maybe downfall of the start of the turmoil, I guess would be a better word of it. That's been going on here that we've been seeing in Milwaukee. I see that as the start of the turmoil of being that number 1 seed, get knocked out by the 10th seed, which is what Miami was when they were able to get in.
Right. Killed it. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the play-in tournament, everything is just going to stay the same. I don't see any of these other teams making any kind of substantial run. I mean, pretty much everyone was seller that's below the 10. Our play-in tournament.
Boston is far and away the team to beat. I don't really think it's close. I think it's really a race for second at this point. I mean, Jason Tatum, one of the best players
in the standings, it is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they're 6 ahead, and then Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. Yep, they're 6 ahead.
And then what people have forgotten is just the rebirth of Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, this is true.
Think about the year he's had.
They've
this
won
year,
like their
ready to write him off.
10 games by 10 points.
Well,
or was it 10
plus
2?
Excuse me. They have a 10 game.
And we talked about this whenever this trade happened. That
that's what
if he was going to be successful, this was the place for him to be successful, where he is basically the 4th, maybe 5th option. So he has no pressure on him whatsoever. He's already proven he can't be the number 1 guy. He can't be the number 2 guy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the perfect position for him to prove that he still has something where he has no pressure on him whatsoever.
He can be 3 or 4 at least. So that's the key. Like you said, if he's not number 1, he's not going to be number 2. Although Donnie Nelson tried to convince us he would be. But he can be a.
But still, at that time, I still would have taken that trade again.
Yeah, you take.
Oh, for sure.
Same way as with the old Rondo trade. I would have taken that again too. Yeah. You had to.
Mm-hmm.
You had to.
It didn't work out, but you had to take the trade. And
right, you take that swing.
And all you gave up was Dennis Smith Jr. I'm not saying it was a bad trade. It just ultimately.
And Dennis Smith Jr. has done absolutely nothing since then. So it's
I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. To be honest with you.
I haven't looked it up in a while. He was last year, but I don't know if he is.
I think he's still out there somewhere, but
he's been trying to come back to the Mavericks, but they haven't been willing to bring him back.
I do think Cleveland is the second best team, though, because
that was last year. I heard that.
Because of Donovan Mitchell, I do believe Cleveland's the second best team in the East, and also too a big key for Cleveland is that. Darius Garland is coming back from injury. I think he's going to get more comfortable back in the system. And also, too, another thing that people don't talk about Cleveland is that they really have a twin tower set up with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Evan Mobley.
It's a poor man, though. That's a poor man twin tower, though.
It's Kmart Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. They both get 16 and 11, so I don't think that's necessarily that bad.
Yeah, but that's also doing that in the East.
Yeah.
It's not doing it against Western opponents.
Okay.
The West has always still been superior as they've been for the past.
I was really just trying to help you out to defend your point that Cleveland might be pretty good, but yeah, Cleveland sucks. Fuck.
I didn't say that they sucked. I'm just saying that
no, you're
calling the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
You're calling the Twin Towers.
That's
I
a mighty big task.
A version of. I didn't say.
Yes, and then we were agreeing with it. Is the Kmart version of.
Oh my God.
We were agreeing with you. We were just
nice.
specifying
No.
what version you were talking about. That's all.
Oh goodness.
Relax. You're fine.
Done with the East.
All right, done with the East. The one thing I'll say before we get done with the East is if things hold like they are right now, I will be very interested in watching a 4-5 matchup between New York and Philly. I think that will be an exciting series to watch between those two teams.
I think the Knicks pulled that out. They had a decent trade deadline acquisitions.
They did, but I think that all comes down to is what kind of playoff Joel Embiid you're going to get.
Right. Exactly.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
And he's that kind of player that he can turn a series around. He can.
That's why he's an MVP.
Exactly.
Not just because he whined about it, but
well, he was last year. He is an MVP. So.
Yeah, but I mean, not this year though.
Well,
this year, no, he's not this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Not
he
at all.
Was an MVP.
Which brings us back over to the West, and once again, go ahead, say it. Go ahead. You know you want to.
Timberwolves are the best team in the West at the moment. Currently 1.5 games ahead.
Oklahoma City.
Where did that confidence go? I figured it would be we are the best, we are the champs.
Yeah, I was expecting a little more gorilla beating the chest and
all right.
You know, or a little more peacocking. I was expecting those tail feathers to come out and peacock a little bit more, but no.
We have the best point differential.
So in the West, Minnesota, of course, is first, followed by Oklahoma City, the Clippers, Denver sitting at fourth, reigning champions, Phoenix at fifth, New Orleans, Dallas down at 7. But even at 7, they're only 7 games back from Minnesota, compared to Miami, who's at 7 in the East, who's 13 games back. At 8 is Sacramento, Lakers at 9, Golden State at 10. And then right behind Golden State, you have Utah, Houston, and Memphis, who are all within 5 games of getting of being into the playoff. So a lot of parity there at the end.
Yeah.
We talked earlier.
Honestly, the Lakers and Golden State Warriors could fall out of that.
They absolutely could. By the way, they have been.
The Rockets come in.
I don't see Memphis getting there. Statistically, they're still in it, but I don't see Memphis actually making it. But
yeah,
I put them in there because statistically, they still have a chance.
Right.
But
they haven't been statistically eliminated yet, but yeah. It's going to take like a miracle angels in the outfield type of thing to get them in.
Now, coming into this.
To me, this is the antithesis of the East. I mean, you have, and whoever gets the number 1 seed in the West, whether it be Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Denver, Clippers. I don't want to play. I would hate to play the 8 seed, especially if I drew Luka and the Mavericks. I don't want to play that game. That game scares
especially since they've been on a 6-game win streak right before the All-Star game.
Well, you won't have to worry about that because the Mavs are definitely going to get out of the play-in tournament and be somewhere up there where Phoenix or the Pelicans are. I'm not sure they'll catch Denver.
Why is it definite? Why is it definite? I'm not saying it's because the Mavs are a bad team, but you have to respect these teams that are in front.
I don't got to respect nobody. I don't got to respect nobody. I don't respect Phoenix. I do not respect Phoenix.
Well, everyone hates Phoenix, but in terms of their talent, you have to respect it.
I think there's going to be a good litmus test coming up this Thursday, the very first game back after the All-Star game with Dallas and Phoenix starting off. I think this is going to be a good test.
This goes to 7 games, or if
this game's on TNT, so everyone's going to be able to see. It's going to be a nationally broadcast game. This is going to be the game to actually show it. If Dallas can come out and continue their winning ways since the trade deadline, that's going to be a big statement game hey, we're ready to make this push and go in. I do also think Dallas is going to make it up. Now, the thing is, when you look at the West, you don't get into a double-digit, game differential from first place till you get down to the 10th seed to Golden State. They're 11 games back from the number 1 seed. The Lakers are only 9.5 games back from Minnesota. When you look over at the East, Milwaukee's 8.5 games back at third,
Right.
and the Knicks are 10 games back at fourth.
19.
So there's still so many things that can happen here in the West. Everybody's just so jumbled up.
Yeah,
because of how many great players are out there.
The Clippers fell, honestly.
I can see that happen.
Would it surprise you though if the Clippers got the number 1 seed? No. I mean,
no, but it also wouldn't surprise me. It would. I wouldn't be surprised if they got the number 1 seed the way they've been playing, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they were in the play-in tournament because you don't know.
There's so much parity.
You don't know what you're going to get with Harden, Westbrook right now. Yeah, I mean they're playing hot right now, but do you know if that's going to continue? Is Kawhi going to stay healthy? Is Paul George going to stay healthy? You don't know. Like no one's proven it enough that they can keep this consistently going on into the end of the season and the
right
playoffs.
Now are honestly the 2 best teams. I don't see them being dethroned. To me, that'll be your number 1 and number 2. After that, it's just a guessing game of where teams are going to fall.
I could see those being number 1 and number 2 easily as well. I could see either one of those teams going on a losing streak. And the thing is, you've got Denver lurking back there 3 games back in the 4th seed. You can't sleep on the Joker.
You can't sleep on the champs. I mean, right now the championship goes through the Nuggets, no matter how you like to look at it. It goes through them. Even if they don't technically have home field advantage, you're going to have to knock them off to fucking
They don't have home court. They're going to come in and beat you 1 or 2 games in game 1 or 2. They're going to beat you.
It's highly possible.
Yeah, and then they've got home field or home court advantage at that point. It's going to happen. You know, they've got the skin on the wall now to prove it, and you say
they got the skin on the wall. Let's hope they keep that intensity too.
Let chip on the shoulders.
Yeah. Sometimes team will lose that after they win, which is why we have so few back-to-back championships. But
very true. It's been a long time since we've had a back.
Yeah, but I think the Joker's got the right mentality because he's just got
Golden State did it.
Shit.
Golden State did it.
That's because they kept buying their championships.
Very true.
Like, I mean, Kevin Durant, come over here.
Well, they did it the year before last, and the last 2 years before this last one. They won back to back.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, they did that without Kevin Durant.
Yes.
I mean, they've won a couple championships. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying we don't have many back-to-back championships. You're usually looking at Lakers and Celtics, and that's about it. Well, I'll throw the bad boy Pistons in there.
Spurs.
Spurs.
Get the Warriors.
It was like 5 championships.
He's not giving anyone credit. He doesn't care about them.
Don't care, Jeff. No, I'll give him credit, especially when you got a young Clay and Steph initially coming out. That was a heck of a 1-2 punch back when they were the actual Splash Brothers.
And if Adam Silver didn't suspend Draymond Green, they would have beat the Cavs.
Highly probable.
Very probable.
For LeBron's 1 win.
Yeah.
Or 1 Cleveland championship.
Teams,
yeah. Not 1, not 2. Oh, wait. Just 2.
Just 2.
Yes.
And last little bit here about the NBA, and then we'll go ahead and take a quick break. The lottery picks. In the East, you have Charlotte 13-41, Washington 9-45, Detroit 8-46. Over in the West, Portland 14-39, San Antonio 11-44. Out of these 5, which these 5 are going to have the most chances for the lottery pick, who do you see getting that number 1 overall pick to add to their team next year?
Honestly, I kind of need to see what the European people kind of look like, because if it's a good European player coming out, I feel like the Spurs are somehow magically going to fucking win that.
Oh,
are you asking?
Yeah.
Are you asking who would be number 1? Or are you asking like what team would?
What team do you think What team do you think is going to get it? I know that's hard with the draft lottery because it's absurd. Detroit should get the number 1 pick, but they won't, and they definitely won't get the pick, even though they have the most picks or the most chances to win. It won't be them.
Yeah, it'll be either number 2 or 3, I think, most time, probability wise.
I will go.
Although I feel bad. I think it was Detroit that was supposed to be number 1 year, and they fell all the way to 9.
Yes.
I was like, oh shit,
They were so bad. And then they didn't get picked till 9. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was like, that's
about
shitty.
to
There should be some
say-
kind of protection against that, but
It should go by record, just like every other sport.
then you got tanking. Not that
Well,
there
at
isn't
this
tanking
point,
already.
honestly-
Thanks.
Honestly, at this point, with the NBA draft essentially turning into minor league baseball and the baseball draft, these are all lottery picks. You're not going to get Patrick Ewing anymore. You don't have these like 4-year superstar players anymore. So if you want to take, by all means, take for one of the 3 international picks that are going to be probably
If
What
you're
about
not picking,
Dickinson? Where you got Dickinson going, or Zach Edey? You don't
I don't
have
think-
him in your top 3?
I don't even know if either of those dudes will get drafted. Because if they would have got drafted, they would have been back. They can all say, like, my goal is to win a national championship and da 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 da. I don't even know, again, if either of those dudes are even going to get drafted, much less be a top pick.
Oh, they'll get drafted.
I don't know.
If they don't get
Still,
drafted,
in-
the NBA doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
in the NBA,
Although that wouldn't surprise me.
mhm.
So hold on, I take that.
So
statement
really,
back.
if you're not in the top 5 in some drafts, the top 3,
You stay
you're
in.
lucky if you get a 6th man. You're lucky if you get that.
Right.
That's just the
Exactly.
way the NBA draft is. That's why it shouldn't go to a lottery. It should just go to the worst team, like every other damn sport, and give these terrible franchises an actual chance. Give them a player. I mean, like when Cleveland got LeBron.
Then the NBA can't advertise
Yeah, they
and
can.
put it on TV and make a big deal about the draft.
Well, it's because they want to set it
Lottery.
up. They have to manipulate it to the
Oh, I
way
know.
that they can make.
That
How
goes
they
back
can
to
make the
David
most money.
Stern.
Yep.
That goes back
Exactly.
to David Stern.
You and
Mhm.
y'all's conspiracy theory, bent envelope.
It is.
whatever.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Because it's true.
I know.
Because it happened. Yeah, it happened. You can see it.
Patrick Ewing.
That's where it all began.
All right.
Go back and watch it. You don't believe us? Go back
I've
and
seen
watch
the
it.
tape.
Yeah, it
I've
is.
seen it. I get it.
Rigged. Rigged.
Now your boy Donovan Clingan, real quick, Caleb. That's a guy that could be a lottery pick.
To me, Hunter Dickinson is better than Klingon.
Better college player.
He has
doesn't
better
translate-
footwork and
doesn't
better.
translate to the
He has
pros.
better offense and defense awareness than Klingon does. Klingon's got pretty good defense awareness, but his offense awareness is a little, sometimes.
Well, we're going to take a quick
Yeah,
break
but the
right here, and
difference
we'll
is-
be back. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back to talk college basketball here. in
Sure we
just a
do.
moment. And welcome back from the break. It's time to jump over to the next round of NCAA basketball. Want to remind everyone the time is coming up quick. The NCAA bracket's coming up, and we want to have everyone join our bracket. Come in. You get a chance to win a $50 gift card. So please come in, join in with it. We'll be letting you know on next week's episode when we're going to be opening up the group to be able to join into that. So email us, reach out on our social media platforms, and if you're interested in joining, so we can get you set up and ready to go. But we'll be getting that date. We'll be opening it up for everyone to come join into the league for your chance to win a $50 gift card if you're able to beat all of us. So you gotta get number one overall, but you gotta beat us. So if it's not just if one of us gets one and you get two, no, you gotta beat us all. So come on, show us what you got.
Good luck.
Exactly. Challenge accepted. Come on in and go for your chance to win a $50 gift card.
So if David Hitt wants to come in and lose, then he can do that.
Ah, shots fired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have a shots fired when you get this. That's what David Hitt gets for shot fired.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you got some upsets coming in this week for college basketball, though, for sure.
A lot of upsets, and we'll go through all those. But first, we're going to go ahead and go through the top 10 as of today. Top 10 in college basketball. And we'll start off. Your Huskies.
UConn is the unanimous number one. Unanimous number one.
You feel like Jeffy does in the NBA right now. So
yep. Well, I might as well enjoy it for one last week.
Enjoy. UConn number one.
Well, the thing is, they lost yesterday. Boom. What happened?
Oh, shit, Sherlock.
They got their ass totally kicked.
Talk to the games later. Go over.
Hey, let's go through the first 10, then we'll start talking about it. Okay, top 10. UConn number 1, Houston number 2, Purdue number 3, Arizona at 4, Tennessee, Iowa State, Marquette, Duke, Kansas, and North Carolina. Those are your top 10 teams. So there have been a lot of upsets that have happened here this week. So there's going to be things that are changing. But my main question to the two of you, how many of these teams do you see staying in the top 10 as we get into the tournament? And how many of these teams do you see falling out of the top 10? And do you see your potential for number ones in this top 10 right now?
Yes. The only one who's in danger of falling out is North Carolina. Everybody else is going to stay in this top 10 because everybody loves Duke, even though they shouldn't. Duke's not a top 10 team. Marquette is around a top 10 team. I don't know if they're in the top 10. So to me, they could be an 11 or 12, but people love Marquette. So I don't think they're falling out.
I don't understand why people love Marquette. I just don't understand it.
I don't either.
Is it my Dwayne Wade hate is why I don't think Marquette is that
I
good?
mean, I don't think Marquette's, like I say, everyone's saying, that UConn win against Marquette was so good. I was like, no, that was not a great win.
When Shaka Smart went there, he hasn't done anything amazing at Marquette for them to be as high as they are. To me, they're a fraud team.
Well, no joke. I mean, that's what we're agreeing with you.
Yeah, I know you're agreeing with me. I know. I'm not trying to fight with you.
I have serious concerns about Marquette as well. I mean, I don't.
Should
every time. Well, yeah. So my point is, and so is Chris's point too, is like, why do you think they'll stay in the top 10? Every time Marquette,
they love them. It's like Duke. They're going to stay in the top 10. Everybody loves Duke, and Duke shouldn't be in there.
Bias. Marquette doesn't get bias. Anytime Marquette's play anybody good, they shit the bed.
No joke. I agree with you. How are they number 5 to become 4 to begin with last week? How?
Okay, so when they lose to Creighton on the road in a week and a half, and then lose to UConn at home, and then they could easily lose to
Providence.
I wouldn't be shocked if Providence beat them. I really wouldn't.
And I wouldn't be shocked either, but I mean, that's okay, maybe.
Because you want to lie, Marquette already lost to Providence already. They could do it again.
If they lose to those,
and I think they lost those 3 games too.
If they're still in the top, let's say they lose those 3 games, hypothetically,
they lose all 3 of those games, they're definitely out of the top 10.
They should be, but
because 2 of those happen in a week, I think,
without question.
Now here's the question
if you get
for
one loss a week and then you win another game, sometimes that can bounce you back a little. But if you're losing 2 in a week, you're usually falling a decent amount.
Which team is more overrated? Marquette this year, Gonzaga last year?
That's a tough one.
I think I just stumped you both on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I know this Marquette team better, so I'm going to say them. But Gonzaga is a very close second.
Well, honestly, I think maybe the better question would be is who's more overrated, the Marquette this year or the Marquette team last year? I mean, what did Marquette do last year to establish them being back in the top 10 again? I don't think they really proved much of anything.
They didn't do jack squat last year.
Yeah,
It's
so
the Kolek effect. That's what it is. It's the Kolek effect.
so I think that I think that's the better question, and I think both of these.
Well, I'll give you
teams are
another one.
overrated.
Who's more overrated, Marquette or Duke?
Marquette.
Duke doesn't. Marquette is, but because Duke doesn't have the physicality, but Duke can score a hell of a lot better than Marquette can.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And they're able to play tempo-wise styles of play, but what's hurting Duke is the physicality, and that's going to burn them at the end. But
How
at least
high-
they can score.
How high do you think Iowa State can get, or do you think they're as high as they're going to be able to get here at 6?
I think they can get to 4 in the top 5. They can crack the top 5.
Do you think they're a
just
potential
'cause-
number 1 overall team?
No, I see them as a 2. I mean, honestly, UConn, Houston, and Purdue are probably your at least
Those are
3
going to
of
be
your
your number
ones.
ones. To me, those are your
And
three
then it's
those are
Tennessee or
three ones.
Arizona is going to be your 4th. It's
But
going
if
to be
Iowa
kind of
State-
a little there.
If Iowa State's able to get ahead of them if they get some losses or something, and they're able to make it to the 4th, don't they make a case?
I mean, they
to
make a
take the
case,
number
but
one
I mean,
seed?
it's like SMU should have been in the tournament when you were in the top 25
Well,
back
true.
when like Larry Brown was there and they didn't get in at all.
Well, there are other
Um,
reasons going on with that, and
well,
Larry Brown was doing some
obviously,
cheating as well
but-
too. So I mean, that's
we
an
found that out
asterisk
later.
next to
We
that.
found that out later, but still, I mean, you're in a top 25
They
to get in
knew.
the damn
They
tournament.
knew. They knew.
Well, then what? They
We
let them
just
in
found
next
out
year,
later.
and they weren't in the top 25 next year, and they still let them in. So why the fuck you let them in if you still knew? Either way, like I said, I don't think Iowa State's going to get a 1 seed, even if they crack the 5 and they're ahead of an Arizona or Tennessee. I think net ratings and everything are going to put Tennessee and Arizona just a little bit above for the number 1 overall.
Yeah, I like our number 1 seeds right now. Again, I don't necessarily know for sure what the order will be, but I believe,
Right.
and again, I'm not saying this in any particular order, but I mean, I do think, UConn, U of H, Purdue, and Arizona will be our 4 number 1 seeds. And I'd be surprised.
Okay, so you're
if we-
disagreeing with you on Houston then? Because I said
You don't
Houston, UConn, and Purdue.
No,
You
he
said
said U of
Arizona,
H.
Purdue, and
He
UConn.
said U of H. That's
Yeah.
University of Houston.
Oh,
He said
sorry.
U of
I
H.
thought I
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
somebody else then.
No, he said U of H. No, he said
My apologies.
basically the top 4 as they are now.
Right,
UConn,
in no
Houston,
particular
Purdue, and
order,
Arizona.
but those will be the number 1 seeds. Now, with
Agreed.
the way Iowa State plays defense and for Big 12 standards, they have a pretty friendly schedule down the road, and if they're able to say, I don't know, make the tournament final and play Houston or whoever that may be, or win the Big 12 tournament, they could certainly be on the 2 seed line for sure. And
Oh,
they would be
sure.
at that point.
Yeah. At that point, you're guaranteed 2.
Mm-hmm. Especially with right outside the top 10, you have Baylor sitting at number 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I think
And-
Kansas is one of your other 2s, even though they're kind of down right now. And I don't know if that's the Terry McClure effect, where he's been having that bad knee and missed some games.
I think
But
I think I would put Kansas into the Marquette category. I think Kansas is a very overrated team. I've seen too many bad performances from Kansas this
they've
year.
had some. So you
because they
pressure
can't-
them, and they kind of fold a little bit.
And
Like
again,
with
you want to
TCU.
you want to put Hunter Dickinson on this like freaking Bill Walton pedestal. And he
Guys
just doesn't
averaging a
show up.
double again.
He doesn't play any defense.
Yes, he
He doesn't
does.
play any. No, he doesn't.
Hold on, let me
Yeah.
pull up the stats for you.
He
You
doesn't
go
play
ahead.
any-
Keep talking though.
No, I mean your best player on that team is McCullough, and Kevin McCullough is one of the best guards in the country. So is Johnny Furphy out of nowhere. But to
Right.
me,
Yeah, it's home sets.
the
Yeah.
Kansas, they struggle offensively a lot. They don't have a go-to guy, and I still think defensively they struggle too down low. I was, I remember watching a KU Cincinnati game, and Cincinnati losing to Oklahoma State tonight proves how mediocre they are. And Kansas struggled against the big guys down low. Like,
Well, when was this game too? Was this one of McClure's injury games? Like I said, it's like, cause he's
no,
been
the
out.
Kohler saved the game, and so did Johnny
Okay.
Murphy. Hunter Dickinson was nowhere to be found. So again, I don't quite get this Hunter Dickinson obsession. It's not only you, Caleb. It's everyone else in the fucking country that.
Well, you average 18, 11, and a steal and a block at least per game.
Guy can't play
You gotta
defense.
get some.
Hunter Dickinson's going to be the number 1 overall pick. I'm calling it right now.
In the Euro
Just to piss
League.
Jeff off. The Euro League.
That's all it is. Dickinson, number 1 overall. And he'll go to the San
Uh,
Antonio Spurs because they'll somehow squeeze it out of their ass like they always do.
Jeez. I mean, a consistent power forward / center besides Wemby, I mean, that is the second coming of the Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I will hate seeing that.
Hunter Dickinson, you'll see him on the Austin Turos or whatever the hell San Antonio's
Austin Toros.
NBA G League team is.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Ridiculous.
So, I mean, Kansas earlier, like I said, early on, they looked so good defensively, but they have fallen off a cliff as far as that goes, even. And like I said, I think it's because teams have learned when you pressure them, like TCU did, and lost only because of bad refereeing in that game, then you know, how to beat Kansas now. You know how to beat Kansas.
Yeah, once they get out of the Big 12, those Big 12 refs aren't going to give them the games anymore like they did that TCU game. That was fucking awful. That was disgusting what happened in that game.
I agree with you.
Well, there's still a lot of college basketball to play as we get ready for March Madness.
The tourneys are coming
day.
up for the conferences.
They are. Conference tournaments are coming up. We'll get ready to go ahead and cover those. And then, of course, brackets will be picked on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. So be ready and get ready to get those brackets ready to go as we're all ready to go here for that. All right. Was there any other college basketball news you guys wanted to talk about?
I do, actually.
There is actually one thing I almost forgot.
3 things I got to bring up, actually, but you go with yours first.
One of them's probably yours. And
maybe.
Yesterday, I got a little blip notification on my phone that said that there was a big fight during the handshakes of a college basketball game, and I didn't think much about it. I thought, oh, I'll check that out later. And later, I was looking at the ESPN app, and I pull it up and see Texas A&M Commerce and Incarnate Wood get into a brawl during the handshaking, and find out today 8 players are suspended from this brawl.
4 from each team.
Wow. That's not something
honestly,
we want to see the alma mater come up for.
No, but I mean, I expected more than a 4-game suspension being the max for 2 of the players. And 3 games, that just seems light to me. You've got to give more than that. But it is what it is. But I hate for the alma mater to come up like that, but
that's not the way you want to get on ESPN.
No, that's 2 to 3 times we've been on ESPN. 40 years.
Only one's good, I think.
Yeah, the one time
the national
like
champion.
2 seconds of Division II highlights for the championship. The other is stealing newspapers, and then now is this.
Yep.
Waka. I was expecting that how to go. I had to go back and I actually sent it to you guys and a few other people going, what the hell?
Oh, yeah. And I got about 700 different notifications from people on that.
Yeah.
So like, I got it. I know what happened.
Other people who went to the school and all that shit. It's like, we get it. It's bad.
It is bad, so we won't spend too much time on it. We did report on it, but we're not going to encourage what happened.
As Commerce alumni, we had to say so.
Yeah. Well, I'll go off on a little more happier note then. Congrats to George Mason taking down Dayton, number 16 today.
There you go, George Mason.
The court. I haven't heard George Mason in forever, but
it's been a while since we've been able to say something good about them. There you go.
Right.
Well,
But
and a lot of
congrats to
people
them.
were thinking Dayton was going to be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. So people,
They've had them, yeah. The people started filling up that hot air balloon, and it kind of
Mhm.
deflated.
Right.
Then we got to go to the UConn Marquette game. I think is
course
the
we
next
do.
big game. As I said, unanimous number one. Like I said, I get to live with it for one more week. But man, UConn looked bad. I mean, this game was coming. I feel like this is a good loss to have before the
Oh, you
tournament.
mean the
And I
UConn
honestly-
Creighton game was
Yeah.
being a good loss as opposed to the UConn Marquette win that you had on Saturday?
Yeah, no, UConn Marquette win was not as great a win as I think everyone's touting it to be, because Marquette kind of
Because
helped us
Marquette's
because they
overrated.
didn't
We
make
discussed
shots. Yes, thank you.
Mhm. We
But
beat that.
Marquette
we
wasn't
beat
even
that to
making their
nausea.
3-point shots. If Marquette's not making their 3-point shots, it's going to be a very long day for them. So, I mean, it wasn't our 3-point defense, I think, that held them down. It was the fact they weren't actually scoring themselves. Because our 3-point defense has been very sloppy, which came back and bit us in this game against Creighton. Now, Creighton historically has been the kryptonite to UConn, as the announcers have mentioned. UConn has not won on the road
to a lot of teams this year.
They have, but UConn has not
been
won on
very
the road
solid.
since 28. Or UConn has not won at Creighton since 2018, and they only won since 2018 earlier this season against Creighton on their own home court. So they've kind of had their number since like 2018 at least.
Creighton's so
and
balanced. They're
Creighton's
such a-
been UConn Seton Hall.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
Creighton
what they
to
did.
me is a good team. Creighton is closer to a top 10 team than some of these other teams we
Oh,
talked about.
you want
in
to talk
my
about who I
opinion.
think is better? Creighton is definitely better than Marquette, in my opinion. Hands
I
down.
agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with that statement.
I see
I
Creighton
agree
making
with you.
some noise in the tournament. I really do.
100%.
Yeah.
I really
Now,
do.
one
That's
guy
a
I
team you
do
don't
wanna
want to match
mention
up
here
with.
is,
No,
I
no.
mean, even the best player for Creighton only scored 12 points and only had 8 of his 12 come in the second half. So he wasn't even a factor. It was everybody else just killing UConn because the defense was that bad.
They've got a good team.
And Klingon
They're
got into a
solid.
little early foul trouble, which some people want to say that's why he had to go sit. So they went on this magical run. But no, Klingon does a very good job defensively inside. But this is just Creighton killing UConn again,
Mhm.
taking down the Giant. This is their first win against a top 1 team ever. So, I mean, I guess props to Creighton for that. But man, it's a good loss because I think it was a reminder for UConn coming turning time. But man, you got your butts kicked, UConn. That's all you can say about this game.
Yeah, but this is a time to get your butt kicked. You didn't get
Exactly. That's what
kicked.
I'm saying. This
Get
is
it
a
kicked now.
good loss. Yeah.
It's a good loss.
Also, I do want to mention that Tristan Newton had 27 points for this game, along with 12 rebounds, four assists, with only 2 turnovers. And I bring up this guy's name because I kind of want the Mavericks to draft him in the second round. Hopefully, he falls that far, because I feel like he would be a good pickup for that backcourt. Kind of take off some of the passing load, and he can also score at times. He's a walking triple double, but we'll see how the draft boards fall, of course. The other game I wanted to bring up was the Ohio State's Purdue game from earlier, which happened on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Sunday. Ohio State pulling it out with a 73-69 win over Purdue, who was number 2, which is why UConn was unanimous number 1 seed, because all the number ones that were going to Purdue went to UConn for this week, which will obviously revert back somewhere else with UConn's loss to Marquette. But to me, this was just a coaching blunder. Like, you have Zach Edey, like, throw the damn ball into the fucking center and let him fucking try to make something of it.
Well, did they do that against Fairleigh Dickinson last year in the tournament? No.
No,
They
that's what I'm
don't
saying.
learn
This is
for their
coaching.
damn lesson.
And that's why Purdue's probably going to have an early exit this year too. But you say it's just you got to coach better than that, my man.
Mhm.
Also, one thing.
And if they have another early exit, what's that going to say for Purdue's coach? Do you think he's on the hot seat at that point?
Then if
I think he's on the
Purdue,
hot
I'm
seat
just
right
like-
now a little bit.
I'm
but
just like, I'm fucking jinxed. I don't know what to do. But one thing I want to.
that's the problem. Purdue's probably just
everyone's talking about Purdue and UConn, but like again, do not sleep on Houston, man. This team is
Well,
so
Houston's look good. The way they
They
thumped
beat
Texas earlier this week.
Texas and Texas
Yeah.
Tech.
Thumped Texas. Texas has
And
had
they
a
took-
decent season, and they thumped them.
and they took care of Iowa State on Monday night. That score was
that was a
closer
big
than-
showing.
That score is closer than the game ending.
It's been very surprising
Very
what
true,
Houston's
very
done these
true.
last 2
Thank you.
years.
Thank you for bringing that
These
up.
last
Jeff.
2
I
years,
kinda
they've
forgot
been
about that.
very,
Bring that
very
up.
solid and very,
Yeah.
very good teams.
Now, the only problem I have with Iowa State is they're ranked and they're ranked this high. I like my Iowa State to be a little underrated going into the tourney.
Well, yeah,
but
I mean, I'm not.
You like
They're a
crazy
great
things
team.
to happen in Ames. You
Exactly.
want crazy
Their
things to
offense-
happen.
they're a
Yeah.
great team, though.
Yeah, just we're waiting for their offense to develop for Iowa State because there are times where they just don't flat out show up for 7 minutes, and it cost them big time in the tournament last year. Cost them an early exit. So, yeah, they definitely need to work on the offensive end still.
Yeah. And then I guess we got to give some props to SMU for hitting the century mark against Memphis this past Sunday as well.
Local
And
SWAT.
and you guys were in attendance for this game.
We were there. We got to see W out there too with his SMU bling on.
W.
Mm-hmm.
I can't name how many. I can't tell you how many Ranger games I was at that he was at.
Yeah.
And then
in the
also,
day.
Oh,
and also
nice.
the SMU Cincinnati game we all went 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
Him and Romo. Romo was there too.
That's right. Yeah, Roma was
that was pre-broadcast Romo.
right.
Yeah, that's still a player.
Yeah, that was before he had shit to do. Oh, well, I'll bring this up later. I heard an interesting story about Roma, so it doesn't necessarily go to college basketball. So I'll bring it up later. We can see.
It'll go in the gumbo. We'll go in the gumbo.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and take a quick break here, and we'll be right back with What the F with Jeff right after this. What the f? And welcome back from the break, as we're now ready for everyone's favorite segment, What the F with Jeff. So, Jeff, what the F?
So I know we're a little late on this, but I've had time to sort of marinate, get more frustrated on this. So now let's fricking go. The NFL Hall of Fame for class of 2024 will be Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson,
Overrated.
Julius Peppers, Patrick Willis, Randy Grashar, who is a linebacker for the Broncos, part of that Orange Crush defense of the 70s and 80s, and Steve Mongo McMichael, who was a defensive end on those super Bears teams, and I'll talk about him in a second. But to me, I think about the people that were left out in this. Antonio Gates leads every single tight end category, even still to this day with him being retired. And he was not nominated to be in the Hall of Fame.
Devin Hester should not have made it in before him.
There's no
Not
way.
at
Not before
all.
him, but Devin Hester can qualify for the Hall of
Devin
Fame. He holds
Hester,
almost
to me-
every rushing
Hey,
or
no.
return record there is.
No, to me, Devin Hester was the best returner of all time. However, that doesn't supersede the best tight end of all time.
Correct.
One of the
Not
best
saying
tight
it
ends of all
does.
time.
Yes,
And it
it
doesn't
does.
supersede one of the
No, it
best
does not.
free safeties of all time, which I know you're getting to this, but Darren Woodson getting
I'm
snubbed
agreeing
once
with him,
again.
Jeff. What
is
are you getting
bullshit.
defensive about?
Yeah, what are you
No, I'm
defensive
saying
about?
that. No, what I'm saying the tight end supersedes the special teams.
Absolutely.
This is what we said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me,
I didn't
Antonio
want you to
Gates.
say special teams supersedes the tight end.
To me, with Devin Hester getting put in over Antonio Gates and Darren Woodson is a travesty. Because one of those two, if one of those two would have got in besides Devin Hester, I would have been okay with. But the fact that Devin Hester got in before those two players who were in the tops of their positions, which are better than a returner. Don't get me wrong, Devin Hester changed the game the way that he returned the ball.
Right.
And actually, it was amazing watching him play. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him play. However,
I got mad at him because he beat
was a
Dante Hall's
liability
records.
on offense and defense. Like they tried to run him in offense, they tried to run him in defense. He didn't do jack crap except be a great returner. That's what he was. And I loved him. I loved watching him. He was so much fun to watch. But does he deserve to be in before Antonio Gates and Darren Woodson? Absolutely not. Absolute travesty.
I mean, Darren Woodson should have been in long before now.
Darren
But
Woodson should not still be waiting.
that's what I'm saying. He should have
It
been
is.
in a long
I know. I'm
time
agreeing
ago.
with you completely. But that's the thing is safeties get the short end of the stick when it comes to the Hall of Fame voting. And the fact that John Lynch
Safeties
is in.
and special teams usually do.
Yes. But the fact that John Lynch is in, who has less career stats than Darren Woodson, is absolutely absurd. It's absurd.
No, I completely agree. Another issue that I have is I would have put Reggie Wayne and Torrey Holt above a Devin Hester. I would have put
easily.
I would have put Fred Taylor above Devin Hester because I think
I
he's
would
the
as
most
well, too.
underrated running back of all time. And to
I
me,
disagree with you there.
and
I'll disagree with you being the most underrated. I'll disagree with you on that. Fred Taylor was a fantastic running back, but I don't think he was the most underrated.
One thing, and again, he gets screwed over for a couple reasons. One, he played for the Bengals. You're always going to get screwed over when you play for the Bengals.
That's a little personal. I think.
And number two,
Exactly.
And number two, he played on the right side. But once again, Willie Anderson, who in my mind is the best right tackle I have ever seen,
Yeah.
once
Pretty damn
again,
good.
got snubbed. And just because he doesn't play left tackle, that means apparently we can't put right tackles in the Hall of Fame. But to me, Willie Anderson.
Well,
is
we
the
would
best-
if they'd have more left-handed quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't care though. I just don't care. At some point, if a guy is that good of a right tackle, he needs to be in the fucking Hall of Fame. If Willie Anderson played
If
for
he was that good of a
Cowboys-
right tackle, then he'd be a good left tackle. And then he would be in the Hall of Fame.
If Willie Anderson played for the Cowboys, we'd suck his you-know-what 6 ways from Sunday.
Well, if he was
We
good
put
enough to
him
be a
out there
left
to-
tackle, he would have played left tackle. He'd already be in the Hall of Fame. He wouldn't have to worry about it.
He was so good at right tackle, then why put him at left? That's his natural position. He
Because
should
then you
be in the
get paid
Hall
as a
of Fame.
left tackle. It makes
He should
more
be
money.
in the Hall of
Mhm.
Fame. Halls of Fame.
Well, there's lots of guys that should be in the Hall of
And
Fame.
so this is another thing that pissed me off about
Honestly, I
this.
put
and
Willie
probably-
Anderson and Darren Woodson over both Reggie Wayne and Torrey Holt.
Yeah, I would too. I would too. I like Reggie Wayne. I like Torrey Holt. I still in who's still available at that point. I'd put both of those above them. I would put them
Yeah.
in next year if those two would have gotten in this year. But if they all
Agreed.
four go in together, I'm okay with that too.
Yes.
I'm okay with it. I am. Like if Reggie Wayne and Torrey Holt got in the same time, those two guys, yeah, like I just said, that's not going to be a problem. If they got in before them, I would still throw a fit and say those two guys need to be in, absolutely. But if Torrey Holt or Reggie Wayne, one of them got in at the same time as them, I'm not going to throw a fit about that. Like I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne don't deserve to be in at the same time they do. Kind of situation now. It's just no.
Right.
It's past that point now. Just get them in. Get them in. They deserve it. I mean, Darren Woodson
Yeah.
right now is waiting for the Hall of Fame like Jimmy Johnson waited for the Ring of Honor.
And well, just like Drew Pearson had to wait 20 years too long to get in the
Way
Hall of Fame.
too long for Drew Pearson to get in. Drew Pearson should have been a
Mhm.
long time before that.
You can't write the history
Right.
of the NFL without Drew Pearson. He should have been in there 25 years ago. One other player, and to me, I was not too offended by this. I'll see what y'all's thoughts on it were. People were really upset about Jared Allen not getting in. I was just like,
No,
meh.
I'm not worried. Now, Jared Allen had a great career, but was he a first ballot jump in the Hall of Fame? No.
Well, I mean, that
No.
gets us back to the first ballot Hall of Famer. Sometimes you're just like, it's a sacred ballot. But you go back to the MLB discussion we had a couple weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and why is this motherfucker on the first ballot?
Yep.
But
Yeah. But I mean, like, I agree with y'all. I mean, Jared Allen, solid career.
I think the people upset that Jared Allen didn't get in are Minnesota Viking fans. Those are the
Yeah.
ones that are
And
upset.
Chief fans too.
And
Yeah.
rarely he finished his career there. He was a Viking through and through. I mean,
yeah,
it's the Viking fans that are upset more than anything
I
else.
even think he signed a 10-day contract, so he would go in as a Viking, I think.
And don't get me wrong, he was awesome. He was the Viking wielding the battle axe, running through the offensive line. I mean, that's who he was.
Mhm.
Okay, if he would have been able to help his team get a Super Bowl win and bring a Super Bowl to Minnesota, then you have a leg to stand on to get in as first ballot at that point. But he was a great player on a good team.
Mhm.
That doesn't always guarantee you first ballot. You have to have like Reggie White stats
Yeah.
to get that.
You change the
aspect.
game somehow, some way.
Exactly. And he didn't change the game. He was just a great player.
Yeah, he was
Exactly.
great.
And that's nothing bad to
Like
say
Aaron
about this.
Donald has changed the game for defensive tackles.
Exactly.
But yeah,
And
that's
then-
not what Jaron Allen did.
One, and then probably one of, if not the main thing that pissed me off, not the fact that he got in the Hall of Fame, it's just kind of the reason why he got in the Hall of Fame is Steve McMichael, who is the great defensive end for the Chicago Bears back on those, historic 1980 teams. He was a University of Texas grad, and then became also after his NFL career successful professional wrestler as well. But I think the thing that made me mad about Mago McMichael is that he was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease in 2021, and now all of a sudden people want to put Steve McMichael on this pedestal, and then he all of a sudden gets in the Hall of Fame. To me, if
It's newsworthy, so you got his name out there. It's like
So-
free advertising for
so
a bad
I don't-
reason.
no, I don't. I just don't think it's healthy that we put people that should be in the Hall of Fame while they're on their deathbed. And I
Well,
can
you
think of
don't, but
another-
it's like the same people that do it whenever the person has died, like that year. Like,
Well,
oh,
exactly, my
remember how
point.
great he
Like,
was?
well, my next
Like,
point
why
was
did you
gonna
let
be-
him in before then?
Well, that's my point. My next point was
I'm
going to be
agreeing with
Kenny,
you.
was Ken Stabler. He should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago before he died. But then,
Mhm.
he dies, and then it's just like, well, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, thanks a fucking lot. He should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm predicting right now. What they're going to do to Pete Rose, they're going to wait till Pete Rose dies, then they're going to put him in so he doesn't get to enjoy being part of the Hall of Fame.
That's
That's honestly, that is
Well,
my
his
honest
lifetime
opinion.
ban would technically be up at that point.
It would be. His lifetime ban would be up at that point. And I think that they're
True.
doing that just because they don't want him to enjoy being part of the Hall of Fame because he wants it more than anything else in this world, and they're going to deny him that.
He does, yeah, and it's possible.
Oh, sure.
So, I mean,
it makes me mad that they.
well, that's the whole thing where it comes down to all of Hall of Fame for whatever sport you want to name it for, is it comes down to people voting for their feelings instead of what happened on the field. Hall of Fame should be done for what is done during your time in that sport. It shouldn't be how you feel about the player. If you think he's a jackass or if you think he's, the next coming of Jesus, it has to be of what they did on the field, on the court, on the diamond, what they did out there. That's all it should matter. That's all it should, is because of what they did, not how you feel about them, not the kind of person they are. Because there's plenty of sports stars out there that are complete jackasses. There's plenty of them out there that are
Ty
great.
Cobb, numero uno.
There are a bunch of them out there that are great human
Kareem
beings that give
Abdul-Jabbar.
everything back to their
Asshole.
communities, that give back to their teammates, to everything. They're just good people that are out there. But it's in all aspects of life. All aspects of life, you're going to find good people. You're going to find jackasses. You're going to have both. It is what it is. But you shouldn't be judged on that. You should be judged on what you did statistic-wise in your sport. That's what the Hall of Fame is set for. The Hall of Fame is not set up for good people or for bad people, for jerks or for kind people. It's set up for what you did on the field and how you succeeded. That's what it's for, is for stats only. It's not a church. It's not something that we come to worship. No, it's only to acknowledge the best of the best. And your stats should be the only thing that matters when it comes to it, whether you like the guy or not. And that's my opinion when it comes down to it. It's what it should be and how it should be voted on. However, in baseball specifically, which, sorry, I've brought this up too many times, but this just chaps my ass, that you can sit there and vote as unanimous. I'm sorry. The one person that voted against
anonymous.
Anonymous, yes. Sorry, my bad. The one person that voted as anonymous to not let Jeter get in, and he was the only one that voted no. No, you should not be allowed to do that. You need
It's
to stand up and
shot.
say, I voted no, and this is why. You need to man up and say, you don't vote anonymous if you're the only one. And really,
Man
you
or
shouldn't be
woman up.
allowed. You shouldn't be allowed to vote anonymous, period. If you have the right to vote, no, you don't get to be anonymous. No,
And that
you
guy
sit there
should
and you
be-
stand up and say why you did it. And whether you, hey, okay, I'm a
that
Boston
guy
Red
should be
Sox fan.
castrated for doing that.
He should be castrated for voting anonymously.
All right.
Not
That's a
not
little far,
not
Jeff.
by voting no, but no.
Why is it too far?
I'm saying
It's
and
not
I'm not
too
saying
far.
physically. I'm saying as far as sports writer, he should
Yes,
not be.
as far as that goes, yes.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even have a vote anymore.
But that's the thing.
Like, if you're going to
is
vote
that
anonymous, you're too
No.
chicken to do anything, so just don't
Yeah,
vote.
you should not be
He should
allowed to
have
vote
his sports
anonymously.
writing duties
Period.
castrated.
Period. You should not be allowed to do that. If you're going to vote no, you need to be man enough to sit up there and explain why
I
you voted
agree.
no.
We all agree with you. I mean,
I
we're
know
not
you
arguing.
guys agree with me. Hey, if it's because I'm a Red Sox fan and I can't vote for Yankee, fine.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's a lot of people up in New England that are going to support you. You don't have to worry about that.
You get free chata for life.
Exactly.
And just
But
like
you
the
need to
fucking
sit there and
Beltray
stand up
deal.
and say why. You don't get to stand up and be anonymous. And even in the NFL, okay, why didn't you vote for Darren Woodson? Why did you vote? Why did you vote for the people you voted for? Sit there and say why. Give an explanation. Because you know what? There are fans out there that want to hear why. Because they don't have the chance to vote for it. So if you do have that vote, you
Yeah.
should have to give an explanation of why you're voting for people and why you're
I'm not
not.
disagreeing.
And also too,
I think that would be I would
it would
read
be
every
nice to
single
have
one of those.
explanations with it.
also,
Yes.
you know, it's the irony.
You shouldn't just have to check a box and that's it. Tell us
The
why. Tell
yeah.
us why you're feeling that way. People want to
Yes.
know.
See, I think the irony is that sports writers expect to get all these grandiose answers from athletes for their articles, and then they don't get what they want. But then when we ask the same of sports writers, when they provide us information or when they make decisions they make, they're too much of pussies to provide answers. And it's like that. There's a lot of irony in it.
In most occasions, yes. There's a few of them that can stand out, I think.
There's
but
a few of
not-
them that do stand out. There's a few that do.
Like
and
Porter
that
said,
can
there's jerks in
accept
every field. There's
criticism.
good
Yeah.
guys and there's shit.
just like this. There's people that can sit there and will say their opinions and will say, this is who it is. I don't care what you have to say. You can tell me. I'll listen to what you say. But this is how I feel, and this is how I'm voting. So you're not changing my mind. I have the vote, so this is how I'm voting. And that's fine. But sit there and give an explanation, especially if you're going to say, oh, I'm voting anonymously because I'm putting a note as a cheater.
Again, you are a sports writer. Your job is to provide opinions on sporting events anyway. So you damn well better provide.
So don't hide behind a veil because you're scared that you're going to get ridiculed. No.
Right.
Stand up, man up, and do it, because you're going to get more respect by actually coming up and saying, this is why I believe the way that I believe. I'm not cowering back. It's just the way we are in culture nowadays that everybody's too worried. You've got the keyboard warriors who are going to attack you, who in person will then not even look your way, will cower down. But it's stand up for what you believe in. Do it. You're going to get more respect in the long run out of it. Just do it. It's easier. It's easier that way. Stop hiding.
All right.
Sorry to go off on that rant, but
I round up everyone right now. I'm good. My job.
I still do think that you two need to come up and to do a live broadcast in Canton at the NFL Hall of Fame.
Maybe if Darren Woodson got in, we could have done it.
Maybe we can. If Darren Woodson finally gets in, you guys can come up and we'll go up to the Hall of Fame game and do live broadcast. Well, not a live broadcast, but we can shoot video there of us there, and maybe we can try and get an interview with Darren Woodson.
Or Big Willie.
Yeah, exactly. I think we could try it. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Just get our
If an 8-year-old can get interviews, why not us?
Yeah, we can get up there and hey, we'll send my son Wyatt up to go talk to him. They'll talk to the kids.
Yes, exactly.
We'll do interviews with Wyatt. We'll have Wyatt do all the interviews. He'll do it. He doesn't care. He's fine.
That was like a good segment.
Good thing I live an hour away from Canton. So you guys, hey, we got to go up and go to Canton. That's what it is.
Yeah, we found out you're a little geographically challenged, but we'll get into that later.
No, Pittsburgh to Canton is like an hour away.
I know it is. I'm not talking about that. You forgot our other discussion. We'll get into it later.
Pittsburgh, Toronto.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back and get into gumbo here in just a moment.
That's good. That's good. Man, that's good. That's what you call gumbo. Poor man gumbo.
And welcome back from the break. Time for the sports gumbo here in the next round. Cheers. And Jeff, I believe you wanted to lead off the gumbo here tonight, so I'll throw it over into your hands. You get the first stir at the pot.
Yes, I will. I'll go ahead and talk about the real tour of golf, the PGA tour, as opposed to the LIV tour.
Hey, Sergio went over too. I mean, everybody's going over. Quit hating on him. John Rahm went over. Come on.
But I would like to comment on the fact that it was such an exciting round of golf. I did not watch it live, as Caleb and I and our mutual buddy Brandon went to the SMU Memphis game, saw President Bush. That was a lot of fun. But anyways, I did watch the replay of it on Monday. Hideki Matsuyama shot around at 62 to win by 3 shots over Will Zalatoris.
Amazing round that Matsuyama shot. Amazing.
It was unbelievable round. Just an impeccable play of golf. And also, too, I was just super excited to see Will Zalatoris appear to fully recover from his back injury. And you can tell just the the emotion that he had in his play, the interaction that he had with this caddy, that he was super happy to be out there. Another interesting thing that was about that tournament too was that Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay, they're best buddies, and they were the final group together, and neither of each other could feed off one another. So both struggled on Sunday, and again, kudos to Hideki. That was just an unbelievable round of golf.
What I need to bring up is in the last two tournaments, this tournament and the WM Open, is Scotty Scheffler. His putting game is fucking atrocious.
Oh my God. You can't watch it.
It has
is
been
unwatchable.
It's been bad the last year and a half, but it's getting worse.
Yes, that's what's alarming.
How is that
And-
possible?
Well, that's the thing, is that
I don't know how it's
He-
possible, but it
the
is.
way he,
But
the
it's
way
doing
he
it.
jumped up to the top of golf with a terrible putting game has just been outside of the norm. It's been ridiculous, and he's been so good, but he's just been going down, and his driving game looks good. His wedges, the mid game has been looking really great, but if it's not a foot away from the hole, there's no guarantee he's going to make it.
No, it's really not.
It doesn't matter if it's 2 feet away or if it's 20 feet away. You don't know. And that's something he needs to get fixed for being the player that he is. There's no excuse for that.
Well, it sounds like
And he's
Steve
not good.
almost.
It's almost getting to the Spieth quality of
It's
So,
even
which
worse than
Jordan
Spieth.
Spieth was disqualified after Friday after turning in an incorrect scorecard.
Hmm.
Yes, and that's
That
something
to me is unacceptable for as long as he's been on the tour.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everyone wants to try and blame the caddy or blame antiquated rules. Just like, no, it's not. That is golf 101. Sign the
Spieth came
correct
out and said it was
scorecard.
his mistake. It was no one else's mistake but his own. But at the same
'Cause
time,
it wasn't.
there's no
was
excuse
his
for
mistake.
that.
No.
There's no excuse for that. And that just shows to me that I've been a Jordan Spieth fan. I'm still a Jordan Spieth fan. I hope that he can turn it around. But I've also been hoping he could turn it around for the past 3 years.
That's the
He'll win a
unfortunate thing
small-
of being a Spieth fan.
He'll win a small tournament, but he can't get any of the big ones in. And I don't want Scotty Scheffler to fall into that realm because I think he's better than that. But at the same time,
Maybe he's not.
he
Sad
may
to
not
say,
be.
but maybe not.
Your
already-
short game, you have to have a good short game. You have to be able to putt.
That's honestly
You
where you
have
make
to be
your
able to
most
putt.
money at the end of the day is putting.
And already 10 misses.
Ask John Daly. John Daly would tell you, putt. If you want to be good, learn how to putt. I can teach anybody. You can teach anybody how to knock the shit out of a ball. Teach them
Yeah.
how to putt. Teach them how to barely tap it in. Teach them how to do that. Once you learn how to be able to control yourself at that point, then you can wail as much as you want to with a driver, but teach everyone how to putt.
And also, too, stroke gain off the tee. Sky Scheffler's number one. Approach, number one. Tee to green, number one. And then this week, he was 68 out of 70 in the tournament in terms of putting. And this year, he's already missed 10 putts within 5 feet.
Exactly.
Some of that caliber is unacceptable. Beyond
poor.
unacceptable.
It's piss poor is what it is.
Yes, 100% pissed.
It's past unacceptable. This is piss poor. You
Yes.
are too good
Absolutely
to be doing this. No, you're too good. You're too good to be doing this. So that's my little spiel. I've been upset about it, and everyone else notices it. It's not just me. It's not just my father-in-law, the casual golf fans. It's everyone in the golf community is noticing this.
This goes beyond Spieth level now.
Yes.
Because at least Speed sucked with the putter too, but he was hitting it all over the place, so his complete game was out of sorts. This is frustrating because everything else with Scotty's game is perfect.
Mm-hmm. Well, staying on to the golf realm, let's go ahead and throw it over to you, Caleb. I know you have a little golf.
I'll take my stir on it with some rare golf as well. Rare golf segment brought to you by CC or CJC, the junior college, however you want to say it. We got Charlie Woods, the son of the great Tiger Woods, could possibly play in his first PGA event. The Consiget Classic, and I'm probably butchering that name. He is playing in a qualifier for it where the top 25 and ties get in on Monday. Top 25. He's playing on Thursday, and the top 25 and ties advance to the Monday qualifier. So this would be his first PGA event. He's played a couple kind of PGA stuff where he teams up with his dad before. But this would be his first solo.
He's also been beaten by John Daly and his kid.
Yes, they have.
Multiple times. But then again, John Daly's kid's a little bit older, though.
Yeah. Especially during the times those two were playing with each other. But so we might have the second coming of Tiger Woods, maybe.
Yeah, and so one thing.
That's a lot of pressure.
Just to preface, if anyone is unfamiliar with the Cognizant Classic, that it used to be the Honda Classic, which is a pretty major PGA Tour event on tour. So if he were to somehow qualify for that, that'd be a major deal. This isn't some sort of Joe Schmo tournament. So this is a legit PGA Tour stuff. So kudos to him if he were to somehow pull off a miracle. That'd be incredible.
How old is he again? I don't have it right
15.
here. 15 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you are the son of Tiger Woods, there's a lot of expectations going to be held on to. However, can he perform? And he has done with his dad that he's performed. But then you come down to is he Michael Jordan Jr.?
And everyone's
Michael Jordan Jr.
try to do it. Everyone's going to try to compare to it.
Unfortunately for him,
but yeah, it's unfortunate.
But unfortunately for him, that's just what happens when you're the son of one of the greatest players in that sport. It just that's the way that it is. And you either rise to the occasion or you don't. And that's
even like we were talking about earlier with the Lobos, we saw Jamal Mashburn's kid.
Yep.
I mean, you had an NBA dad. That's just an NBA dad. You're like, oh, he could be good. So
once you have that name recognition, it comes along with it. And knowing, he has the opportunity. That's the thing when it comes down to it. He has the opportunity. And
at such a young age, too. It's crazy.
It is. But, look back at Tiger. Look back at what he was doing.
But I don't think he really got into it until 17, though. Or he wasn't in his first PGA until
his dad. Well, yeah, his dad had him on Letterman hitting balls at 4.
Well, he was hitting little golf balls and stuff, but he wasn't on the tour then.
Well,
no, he wasn't on the tour then. But that's the thing is that's the one thing that his son has is that Tiger didn't have a dad with tour experience. He had a dad that was very involved, that really looked out for him and helped bring him in and turn him into the player, give him the work ethic that he has to help become the player that he did. The one thing Tiger's son has is he has a father who can instill in him the same work ethic with, I'm sure that he did, is, hey, this is how I did it.
Tell his son to keep away from the Denny's waitresses. That's all he needs.
It's not just the Denny's waitresses. It's the porn stars and everyone else along the way. Just keep it in your pants. Find a better release.
Yeah, I'm sure. The thing is, his mom, Elin, she's hot. So okay. Stick with
That doesn't help him.
No, it doesn't help him at all.
At least I hope it doesn't.
Insane.
Yeah.
Well, what I wanted to talk about here tonight is first starting out with NHL, because we've got
Boom.
hockey coming
Go
up
Stars.
hard and full. The Stars.
Go Stars.
Stars are still sitting second in the conference, first in the Central, and this is coming off of a 3-game losing streak. Their last 3 games, losing to Edmonton 4-3, losing to Boston 4-3, losing to the New York Rangers 3-1.
Those are some bad losses.
Boston, those are bad losses against good teams in the East. Edmonton, not a high team in the West, but still not a great loss with the way they have. I don't like these losses that have been here recent. Not happy about those. However, with those losses, and I wrote this down so we can go with. They're still first in the Central, second in the West. So you think we've had it rough here? I got the top 3 in the Western Conference right now. We have Vancouver. They're at 80 points. They went 4-5 here at this point in February. Dallas, here's in second. They're 4 points behind, 76. They went 4-4 in February with this 3-game losing streak. Third place, also sitting right behind Dallas in the Central, is Colorado with 74 points, 2 points back. They've been 3-5 here in February. So the top teams here in the West have not looked good at this point of the schedule. And out of the top 3 teams, we're the only one without a losing record.
Right.
So,
I don't know where the Stars are at right now.
I'm happy with where they are. Things are going well. Ottinger's still playing solid. Yeah, you've had some losses. Hey, this is the time to have them. If you're going to have them, you want to have them to mid to late February, early March. That's where you want to go in your losing streaks. That way you can fix things going into the playoffs to make a good playoff push. And right now, Dallas is a strong-looking team going here in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Those losses don't concern me, to be honest with you, because Edmonton has an overtime loss, and you're going against the
But that is another overtime loss.
It is, and Dallas still leads in overtime losses, but they're only like 7, unlike last year where they were like 18. And I know that's a bad over exaggeration, but
but I mean, I'm not concerned with that. I mean, you're going against the best player in the league in Connor McDavid, and so if you're able to take Edmonton on the road and get an overtime loss like that, I'm not too offended. That was a home game, and then they had to go to Boston, who's one of the best teams of the NHL. They took them to a shootout. They lost that, and then that Rangers
third best team now in the East. Florida right now is leading the East currently.
Right, and then they had to go to the Rangers last night, and they didn't even play.
Florida is a surprise team for me to be number 1.
They're very surprising, and the Rangers
are that differential they have.
The Rangers are second. They lost that game last night, and Odger didn't even play. It was Wedgwood that was going for goal.
Exactly. Like, I'm not worried at this point of the season. And
in fact,
the losses,
I'm excited where they're at.
We're not these 3 losses, they've lost by 1 goal for 2 games and 2 goals for another game.
Right.
I mean, it's not like they've been blown out, such as one of the games that came up earlier this weekend. It wasn't a blowout, but the who was it? Minnesota, and I can't remember who Minnesota's playing, but Minnesota won 10-7.
Oh, that was a Canucks game on
President's game
2 days ago.
Yeah, just absurd. A 17-goal game. It was 10-7. 4 players had hat tricks in this game. Like, I've only seen worse defense in the NBA All-Star game.
That was incredible. When I
You're
saw
not
that 10-7 headline come across, I cannot
And have
believe it.
4
That
players
that
in
was
hat
fun.
tricks, just absurd.
Yes, that
You're
was
like you
great.
could get one player in a hat trick. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to
We'll
talk about
keep-
All-Star game? That's an NHL All-Star game right there. 10.
that was that there were more goals scored in that game than there were in the All-Star game, NHL All-Star game, which has already happened 2 weeks ago, I think.
Right.
Yeah. They have those
So-
actually at the mid-season.
We'll have some more
tournament.
NHL as this gets closer, as we start seeing this start phasing forward. We'll get some more NHL action with that. But the last thing I wanted to bring up was English Premier League. Yay, soccer!
Yay!
Yay!
So this last Saturday, Arsenal won 5-0 over Burnley, which in the last 2 English Premier League games, they've scored 11 to giving up 0. However,
Impressive.
today Arsenal played FC Porto and lost 1-0.
That's all right.
I would
They
not
were due a
be-
loss.
I would
But
not be
there-
worried about that because
Before
that-
this game
that-
came
again,
up, there was a
Just
lot of
not
talk
worried about a lot
how
of things.
the Portuguese teams are underrated. That they actually have some really good quality players. And from what I saw from earlier, what I was listening to right as we were getting started with the broadcast, that Arsenal just wasn't ready for this game. They were too busy worried about what's going on, especially with their next game this coming Saturday against Newcastle. And about
Newcastle's been playing quite well.
they've been playing very, very well. Also, my father-in-law's team, because he likes Newcastle beer, so he picked Newcastle as his team. So there'll be some trash talking going on this Saturday between my son and my father-in-law over Arsenal and Newcastle. But Newcastle's been playing well. Then also look at Liverpool. Liverpool this last Saturday won 4-1 over Brentford, and then today over Luton 4-1. They've gone 8-2 goal differential in their last 2 games.
Yes.
They have let's see, Nottingham Forest coming up on March 2nd. That's their next game coming up. Nottingham Forest is still playing. They are playing to stay out of relegation.
Yeah.
They're close. There's a chance they're about 2 spots up now, but they're still 2 spots from relegation. They have everything to lose, so they're going to be playing lights out. And then you have Manchester City, who's won their last 2 games, and they've got Bournemouth coming up this Saturday, along with Arsenal with Newcastle this Saturday. As of right now, I don't even count 4th and 5th of Tottenham and everything going on down there. It's between these 3 teams. Liverpool with 63 points, Manchester City and Arsenal both at 58. These are the 3 teams that are pushing for the I think it's end of May is when the English Premier League will finally finish.
So we have about 13 weeks left to go. And
Yeah.
if I'm
It's
Arsenal,
between
sense.
these 3 teams. It's between
Yes.
these 3 teams at this point.
right, and to me, if I'm Arsenal, I'm a little disappointed I lost to Porto today. But again, it's a Champions League game. That's the first leg of 2 legs, so you get to play Porto again. And if you say
At this
beat them
point, that's
and say if you beat them 2-0 in London next week, then you pass Porto and then advance to the Champions League. So I don't think it's
as of
anything to
right
be
now. No,
overly
this
concerned
is a
about.
game that to me this with them going 11-0 against the last 2 opponents, 6-0 when they scored 6 goals against West Ham to 0. Burnley, you expected a 5-0, 4-0. You expected that. So your 11 goals, you were due a bad game. Now you get it done here against Porto, where you can. This is the game that you need to have your bad game.
Yeah,
You have it
you
now.
take that loss.
Yeah,
Where it
that's
didn't affect
fine.
you.
Exactly.
I feel like this would be
If you're gonna
Liverpool's
take-
first championship in a long time too. If
No,
they
they
actually
won
pulled this
last
off.
year.
No, Man
Last year?
City won the last 2
I
years.
was about to say, I thought Man
Well, I
City was
mean,
last.
they won 3 years ago. I mean, sorry.
Okay, so
3 years ago they won. But yeah, Man
right.
City has won the last 2 years.
Yeah, because there was that, or maybe it's that COVID year where Liverpool won. I might be talking about this here. They've won one recently.
Okay,
Easily.
fair enough. I was thinking Liverpool hadn't been there in a while.
Before the one a couple years ago, yes, they hadn't been there forever because Tom Hicks ran that program.
Yeah, and actually speaking to my brother who lives over in Germany, when he was asking Wyatt about his favorite team, he goes, "Why didn't you pick Liverpool?" I was like, "Well, we picked a team with a gun. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Big cannon. And that's why
Yes.
we're a fan of them."
Makes sense.
So yeah, we'll keep up with that as we go into May, because there is some interesting storylines going on there in the English Premier League and the Champions League. So a lot to go on with that, and also getting ready for Paris 2024. We've got the Summer Olympics coming up, boys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And also,
excited
too-
about it.
Also, too, we're starting to approach NFL draft season. So all teams think they can go to get their franchise player and win the Super Bowl.
That's right. We need to start building our draft boards.
Yes.
Have our
Yeah.
own the
I'm in the process
next round
of doing
sports
something.
war room.
Oh, believe me, I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready.
Yeah,
to
maybe
go.
we'll kick around a special live broadcast for the night of draft day.
Yes.
Could be fun. Let us know on our social media boards if that is something you would like to see.
In a
Like to join in
selection
with us.
Sunday, perhaps as well.
Yep, there's also that as well. There's lots coming up here. We've got horse racing. We've got lots of stuff coming up here.
And we have
Here
the
as we move
Masters
into the
coming up,
spring.
too.
Masters coming up. The Masters. Love it.
Yes.
Kentucky Derby. Can't wait. There's so many good things with March Madness and everything coming up. So please reach out to us on all of our social media platforms. Let us know what you want to hear about. We'll talk more about that. Otherwise, we'll go and keep talking about what we like to talk about. Please join in on the conversation. Let us know what you think. Come join in on our bracket board. Get your chance to win a $50 gift card. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us again. We're at 25 episodes. We're really enjoying it. We hope you're enjoying it as well. We want to make our way all the way to 100 so we can all celebrate together with that. But once again, for Caleb Culver, for Jeff Amos, this is Chris Porter. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you at the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Cheers.